the new Modus Super Series champion.
Oh my word!
It's another incredible moment tonight.
Jeff Smith!
It's match start.
5-star performer, and the bullseye is hit.
It's Johnny Magny!
Looking for another mammoth finish on the ball. He's done it again. Treble 17 for the top of the board. How about that?
He was favourite going into the night, and that's the reason why Adam Sevada.
Cox looking to step in.
The second leg
And
lead
step in he does.
He's full of grit, he's full of desire. He's back in this match. Outstanding.
So here we go, it's the first night session of the week. We are watching all of the action from Group B on this Thursday night here on Pluto TV. Hello, good afternoon and welcome along to the action. We're here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth for the second session of the day here at the Super Series. We saw a former champion in action this afternoon in Conan Whitehead, and this evening we are going to see Jim McEwan, the Series 5 winner, joust it out for his stake of the £25,000 jackpot. Paul Nicholson's alongside me. And if we have a look at this group and we have a look at the players that are in action, look, they're big names here, but they're big names also with some questions under their belts.
Yes, I believe that's the case. We've got some people coming into tonight's action, obviously into tomorrow's as well, who maybe aren't in the best of form compared to what they've done here before. Some people might have taken a bit of a break before returning to competitive action at the start of 2026. And we look at some people's form through qualifying school, wherever they went, and also because of what they've done on the Challenge Tour recently. This is one of those weeks where you can strike while the iron's hot, but we don't know how hot the iron is.
Well, let's have a look at this afternoon's action. And Danny Ayres topped Group C. He's a player that's beginning to go up in quality. We saw him at the Challenge Tour at the weekend, have a deep run through to the quarterfinals. And somebody maybe in 2026 we need to keep an eye on.
Yes, we do. I don't think we're still seeing the best of Danny. I thought we saw glimpses this afternoon. I like the way he started. He had a lot of purpose. And when he had a bit of a hiccup, he was able to still show some brightness. And that's why he's top of the table on 8 points, albeit by legs won over Steve Green, who, when you think about how Danny played this afternoon compared to Steve, I thought Danny was much the better player. Be interesting to see the stats come tomorrow.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. In terms of tonight, though, this is how the tournament bracket looks as we head to the midway point of the week. Henry Coates and David Evans are the two players that drop out of Group A into this group. And then tonight, we're going to see Jim McEwan, Lee Cox, and Adam Sevada join for the first time. In terms of Jim McEwan, former series champion, had a very good start to 2025. Didn't seem too much towards the end of the season. It'd be interesting to see what kind of nick he's in.
Very, very interesting stuff. I think what we get from Jim might be a slightly slow start. That's what we had from Conan Whitehead on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. But the problem with Jim's situation is that he doesn't really have the head start this week. He's got to get firing and quickly. Otherwise, you know, Henry, Group B is very, very short. You get a bad start, you might leave yourself with too much to do.
Adam Sevada had a very good season for the most part of 2025. However, with the way things ended out at the World Championship, leave perhaps a bit of a sour taste in the mouth.
It should. When you earn £25,000 in ranking cash, as it was, by winning your first game and going into round two, a lot of people might see that as a positive. But the way he played, I don't think he played very well at all. And under the pressure on the stage against Charlie Manby, I just didn't think he thrived. So there are question marks as to how he's going to perform under pressure on this stage off the back of that. And looking at the Las Vegas Open and Las Vegas Classic from last weekend, he didn't play great. So an opportunity to put some wrongs right, let's put it that way.
In terms of the betting, he goes off joint favourite alongside Henry Coates. Henry justified at 7-4.
Yeah, I think so. The way he played on Tuesday, Wednesday was much better than the start of any session, and indeed from Monday as a whole. He's starting to show us just enough to say that he's going to be one of the stronger cats in this group.
18 plus, gambleaware.org if you're going to have a flutter. And let's get into our first game. Jim McEwan is in action, and the Series 5 champion had a chat with me earlier on tonight. Jim, here we go. Back once again at the Super Series. How much are you looking forward to the next couple of nights?
Yeah, always do. Been out for 2 or 3 months, not played a lot. It feels like a new start to me, yeah.
So to a certain extent, of course, you're going to have that want and that will to win, but is tonight a little bit of kind of feeling yourself into things to a certain extent?
Oh yeah, coming here with nothing to lose. I've gone down and weighed my darts 4 grams as well to try and get me going again after the wee layoff.
What was the reason behind the change in terms of grammage?
Less effort to try and hit a treble 20, I suppose. No, I just picked them up one day. My sponsor sends me all sorts of weights, and I tried them, and they seemed to go well. And I tried them the next day, and they seem to be flying okay.
First half of 2025 was very fruitful for yourself. Won a fair bit on the WDF circuit. Had a bit of success here. How much are you looking to try and replicate that this year?
Oh yeah, I definitely went back to Lakeside this year. Don't have any challenge tours this year. Never went to Q School, so that's my goal. And obviously coming back here as much as I can. So
2026 is about having home the WDF circuit and try and play here as often as possible.
Yeah, I mean, coming to the end of my darts life now, I think I'm going to be 59 soon. So I think Q School was just a bit much for me, especially with the eye infection and stuff. So we'll go for Lakeside again.
Doing the darts you enjoy?
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Right, wish you all the best, Jim. Good luck out there.
Thanks, Henry.
Well, Jim McEwan, the second former champion to find himself in action today here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Fair to say that Conan Whitehead will probably leave tonight feeling like a cat with 9 lives, the way the session started in comparison to the way it finished. He takes on David Evans, who has been a man that has been very much with a ton-plus plan. 13 free-figure outs over the course of his Group A campaign. Up against McEwan, the 58-year-old Series 5 champion, a man who has said that Lakeside's the priority in 2026. And you look at the field, I know we're only a couple of weeks into the season, but you look at perhaps the players that apply their trade on the circuit. Certainly feels open for interpretation who could win that tournament. Up against the 36-year-old David Evans from Preston, playing in North End. And he's going to have to dig deep if he's going to find a way through to Saturday night's final. George Baker from the Midlands, ready to go on this Thursday night. We actually got to spend a bit of time in George's company, Nico, weren't we, between sessions? We had a little bit of chicken and rice and garlic bread from a rather famous cheeky establishment. And his plans for 2026 will be a lot of time here at the Super Series, and we're glad we're going to have him here, as I'm glad to have your company this evening.
That's very nice of you to say as well. Nice to have Jim back. Jim's back with his darts that have been on a diet. Obviously, as Jim mentioned
93
in the interview just there, that he's been tinkering with not the construct of the barrel, but the weight of it. And they're skinny. Talk about darts having New Year's resolutions. Looks like his darts have been doing hit classes.
41.
And that's exactly what they want to do. They want to hit stuff. And the reasoning behind it, he thinks if they're lighter, they'll be easier to deliver. Time will tell.
180.
First max of the night goes to Stretch, who is looking for some consistency the next couple of nights.
Fair to say, it was a case of high-low, jack-low for David Evans in Group A. His finishing was pretty much on point. 13-ton plus checkouts, as he mentioned, including those big fish finishes. He doubled it around about 35%, but His scoring average over the course of 15 games, 83.69. Only 6 180s as well throughout the course of the 15 matches that he played in that group.
44.
We know that is way below what he is capable of doing. But he also knows, because he's a horse for this course, that that's now irrelevant. This is a complete clean slate.
If we're going to be honest, which we always are, that's a great 180. That's honest. 6 180s for 3 days for Dave Evans is atrocious. Especially when you consider he's got 13-ton plus finishes. That is something to laud.
60.
But
Jim, you
6
require
180s?
41.
That is nowhere near his best. And we want to know why.
Well, tops it is. Double 10 for the former champ.
Game shot on the first
Well,
leg.
5 visit
Jim
leg to kick things
McEwan.
off. And Jim McEwan said he doesn't really know what kind of nick he's in going into tonight. Hasn't played for the best part of 3
Second leg,
months.
it's
Has been
David to throw first.
struggling with an eye
Game
infection. But he's got his eye in here.
Some people don't take a lot of time to get going. Don't grade McEwan on what he does
96.
in his first couple of games. Grade him on his night's work. But that is a really bright start. Those darts, when they hit the board, they're a little bit wobbly. It's bound to be the case if they're a little bit lighter. And they're still going in very upright.
95.
But we'll pass judgment on the new setup if and when he makes Saturday.
And we've sat here over the last,
96.
well, for me, nearly 4 years. You've been here for 5 or 6 years now. We've spent plenty of nights at 10 p.m. caffeinated watching Jim McEwan play. In fact, when you go back to the previous venue to this, he's one of our longest serving campaigners, is Chucky.
95.
And he's the type of player that you just know it may not always feel pretty, it may not always feel routine, but he's one of those players that somehow will find a way, irrespective of what he's doing
164.
elsewhere, as Evans finds a 164, this time to set up.
Yeah, not his first 164 of the week. He has hit one to finish a leg. He's hit a couple of 170s and a 161.
99.
early
David,
signs
you require
are very good here.
145.
Now, I'm going to say this early before anybody accuses me of jumping on a winning horse.
55.
I think Evans is going to play well the next couple of nights because I believe he's a better nighttime player than a morning player. That's from years of watching him. This is useful. I'm starting to understand the slimmer
180.
darts.
David, you require 90.
And Evans is on the back foot, despite playing some decent stuff so far. He has to stay there to give himself at least a dart at the ball, and that was all he was contemplating. Not even a floating thought of getting the treble.
59.
Couldn't find the little target
Jim,
on
you
the middle of the
require
board.
32.
Low and left. That's been his miss this week.
Game shot on the second
Jim
leg.
McEwan's not
Jim
missing much.
McEwan.
This is very good. 2 5 visit
The leg
legs.
is Jim to
And
go
he's got
first.
Dave's
Game
attention.
on.
2-0 to the good and looking very good. And he's one of those players, Jim, that we know how good he is, but when he speaks to you in interviews, it's rather understated about
61.
how things are. But I legitimately think that going into tonight, he didn't have a clue how it was going to go because he spent that long out.
Did you believe him?
On this rare occasion, I
You did believe him, didn't
kind
you?
of did, yeah.
Okay.
40.
Interview enough Scottish players and enough of them will tell you just enough to make you think that it's plausible. Now, Jim's a very honest guy, but he's also very wily. That maybe he's underplaying how well he
100.
feels. He's not the kind of person who's going to go into the interview room and speak to you and say, I'm feeling amazing. I'm going to smash everyone off the board. What he's going to say is, haven't played a great deal lately. He's going to understate it, and then he's going to show us on the board. 15 and 14 darters to start this game. I'm questioning if he told you everything.
What we've established today in our, 12 hours
100
with one another is just ignore everything that anyone ever says in an interview because it's a load of rubbish.
Not everything. Just try and read between the lines.
100.
That one's in between the barrels, and a very good dart from Evans. What other aspects of his Group A can he be proud of? Doubles at 35%. That's not bad.
60.
Win percentage wasn't brilliant. But we judge him by the highest of standards because he's someone who's gone 14 out of 15 in a Group A. If you've done that, and you've reached the heights, average-wise, finishing-wise, that Dave has done before, we judge him by the highest of standards. So I make no apologies for some of the similes I will use, because if he wants to be a great player, you've got to do great things, like hitting the bull.
56.
And because he just misses, he might be 3-0 down.
40.
Well, this has been a high-quality contest. And David Evans has had a couple of opportunities, and that has been it. Because Jim McEwan, when presented with a chance, has gobbled it up. He's 3-0 up. And that is worst leg of the match. But still, averaging 100.2, 45 darts to put himself in this position. And now one away from an opening win.
I'm not seeing any rust here.
58.
If there has been some rust, I think he's done some very creative work in the practice room to make sure that he's ready enough for this game. And then he'll do enough to play in Game 3 against Adam Sevada. And if he gets a 4-0 victory here,
60.
he'll have his tail up and he'll be playing ahead of Adam's first game, where he'll be feeling a little bit jittery.
There's as much
58.
rust as a newly cleaned Ford Mustang. And he really is, in terms of the scoring stakes, going through the gears, turboing his way towards the finishing line.
82.
I can imagine Jim in a Mustang. If you look at his hair, he's keeping it real with the kids. Even towards the age of 60 now.
140.
Still getting the hair product out and looking pretty slick.
Well, if he really wants to get down with the modern hair regalia, then he's going to have to get one of those mallet things, because that's very much the fashion. Mallets are back. Or mullets are back. Sorry, not mallets, mullets.
180.
Yeah, I think Chucky's mullet days are over, but his 180 hitting days are very much here. That's number 3. Every department of this performance
140.
is very good. Doubles, check. 180s, check. Average, check. Scoreline, check.
And the game may well be check in a few moments' time.
139.
Because once again, he's left himself on tops after 12. And David Evans, simply put, has to take out this 105 to even have the smallest of glints, the smallest of hopes.
91.
Double 14 would have been for Ton Plus checkout 14.
2 darts at the bull, 1 at double 14, and that is possibly all she wrote. He's been blasted off the board by a wonderful display from Jim McEwan, the former series champion. A couple of 13 darters. Well, let's face it, that is one of the best performances of the week. And statistically, it's the second best. McEwan off to a flyer.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. And before the break, the former champion Jim McEwan got his campaign up and running with a 4-1 win over David Evans. And what a performance it was as well. Average of 103.66, 3 180s, 4 from 6 in terms of his finishing. As for David, well, it was actually his best performance of the week, average of 95.26, but he only got 3 goes at a double, 1 dart per leg, 3 legs running. He was able to not take any of them. So 4-zip win for Jim McEwan. Game 2 sees Lee Cox, now 42 years of age, former semi-finalist. That came in his previous appearance here, up against Henry Coates, one of the precocious young talents in this sport. 19 years of age. He won the Rising Stars Week in August. He beat Ryan Brandley in the final, and it was an incredible final. It was a game that he trailed by 3 legs to 0 before reeling off 4 on the spin to win 4-3. And he was very, very proud of picking up that particular title. Had a decent weekend on the Challenge Tour circuit, did Henry.
Game on.
Finds himself 11th in that particular order of merit, following the first weekend's worth of action, which could potentially be good enough in 1 or 2 places for a Players'
95.
Championship appearance or 2. He made the semi-finals of the 5th and final Challenge Tour of last weekend. He got the better of Tommy Morris 5-1 of the quarter-final before then losing out 5-2 to Steve Lennon in the semis. Averaged 88.09 in that game. Had 3 180s, a 156 checkout, but
80.
he had 8 separate opportunities to have a go at a double. And what I mean by that is visits where you can check out anything from 170 to 2. And of those 8
96.
opportunities, he could only convert 2, while Steve Lennon, on the other hand, was 5 from 10, averaged just under 95 in that contest.
125.
I was always going to be very keen to see which darts Lee Cox was going to use, because over the last
60.
year or 2, since he's been coming to Portsmouth, he's somewhat flip-flopped between different sets. Let's get a closer look, shall we?
139.
These look like a bit of a mishmash of 2 different sets he's used. They look like Gezi darts. Get a win price, that is.
120.
Whoops, somebody ran out of Sizel there.
Lee, you require 62.
Oh, Lee.
30.
Don't miss
Henry,
singles.
you require 104.
Well, Henry's looking for 416s and tops.
64. Lee, you require 32.
This is a rather swift game compared to the last one. These guys are getting on with it.
Game shot in the first leg.
And there you have a little look at what Lee Cox is using. They don't look exactly like
Second
the
leg
get-a-win
is Henry
price
to
darts
go
that he was
first.
using
Game on.
in other series.
And there's a reason why, because in the middle of last year, Lee Cox signed for manufacturer, which is not the manufacturer that
85.
Go Prices with. And so he's had his own custom-made darts with a little bit of Geziage in mind.
Geziage? Hashtag that, everyone.
85.
And so that is what he's throwing with in 2026. And so far, throwing to good effect. And actually, so far this evening, we've seen
47.
5 legs played. And the worst leg so far completed has been in 16 darts.
Long may that continue.
40.
Interestingly, it did say on the graphic that Lee is now living in Hawley, which is in West Sussex.
31.
Previously, living in Crawley. Seems like he's moving ever closer to Gatwick Airport. If he moves any closer, he's going to be living in the North Terminal.
180.
And if he can get darts that close together, he's going to have a very good couple of nights, because that was wonderful.
Well, I'm just thinking I may not need a
46.
hotel the next time I go on holiday the night before. I'll just see if I can... I'll see if there's a sofa going or something.
100.
I think Lee's quite a hospitable guy, but he's someone who lives so close to an airport. If he wants to go away for a weekend or a night, he can just walk to the airport.
140.
So you might want to check if he's home first.
96.
I think Henry Coates is starting to wish that Lee Cox was not invited. Those darts are going in straight. They're going in true. And they might be giving him a 2-0 lead against this very, very good youngster.
Lee, you require 40.
Well, so far, he is just shutting down. But if he misses these opportunities...
Game shot in the second leg, Lee Cox.
Coates had a chance to pinch that leg, but full credit there to Lee Cox. 16.
Third leg is
Now a
Lee
17.
Game on.
2-0 leads.
Henry did play some really good stuff. Particularly late morning,
45.
Tuesday and Wednesday. I got the feeling he didn't like playing his first round match this week. He put in some really low averages. Just took him a couple of hours to get going. But when he did, he played some wonderful stuff.
He's 19 years of age. No one likes to wake up at
140.
an early hour at 19 years of age. I can tell you from my very experience.
Well, let me utter the words of the Group A winner, George Killington.
59.
He was waking up at 5 a.m. to get ready for a 9:30 start.
60.
If your accommodation is very close by, you might be getting up a little bit later than that, but if you want to succeed in Group A, you've got to be an early owl. Quite the contrary for this group, isn't that right, Henry? If you're a late owl or a night owl, this could be the group for you.
And different players like to prepare different ways. It was interesting. I was speaking
100.
to Steve Beaton when he was here last year. And he said, because there's a hotel right by the venue here in the Live Lounge, which a lot of players frequent at.
55.
But Steve Beaton
Lee, you
decided
require
to stay in
156.
accommodation off the beaten track a little bit because he likes the idea of a commute in the morning to get himself ready for the day's work. I know a lot of football clubs work that way. They'll stay in a hotel half an hour away so they can get the bus in to prepare for a match.
Well, Lee's on the cusp here of 3-0. This has got the same sort of
56.
feeling as the first game of the night.
$16.
Oh, big chance
Henry,
missed.
you require 73.
Let's see if he gets another. Double top for Coates.
33.
That is missed by the finest
Lee,
of
you
margins.
require 40.
So, double top.
Game shot in the third
Puts
leg,
Cox free
Lee
up.
Cox. Fourth leg is Henry to throw first. Game on.
Oh, Coates is riding by his coattails now. In fact, we could have two very swift games to
93.
kick the night off here. And Adam Sevada, who was last up to bat, may well be coming onto the stage rather earlier than perhaps he expected. Because Lee Cox here is going through the gears.
Last weekend on Saturday,
140.
Cox was at the Challenge Tour, making the last 16 in Challenge Tour 4, losing out to Steve Lennon. Beat the likes of Patrick Tringler, Derek Coulson,
100.
Ted Everts and Ashley Coleman. Beating some good players there with some very good numbers. Had 100 average against Tringler.
98.
Backed it up with 290-plus averages to make the last 16, but for someone who's won a couple of times on the Challenge Tour now, Lee will be expecting
45.
improvement
Henry,
this year.
170.
Well, 6 darts from here. Coates isn't going to find the big fish, but I totally echo your
98.
sentiments. We know how good Lee is, and he's provided some good stuff here over the years. He's had a 9-darter. And as you mentioned, he's picked up a couple of Challenge Tour titles. And I just wonder whether this year's the year where he thinks, right, let's really
100.
kick
Henry,
on.
you require 72.
Take that next step to that next level and maybe get one step closer to the very top of this side of the sport. To save the match,
32.
Tots doesn't go for Coates. And this could
Lee,
be
you
curtains.
require 76.
Double 8.
60.
Oh, it was right on
Henry,
line.
you
He thought it was
require
in.
40.
Is this?
Game
It is,
shot
but
the
only
fourth leg,
just.
Henry Coates.
He's not going to be nilled in his first game. He's still got a chance of coming back. I
Fifth
think
leg
the
is
big
Lee to
key
throw first.
to Lee's year lies within the space between his ears.
180.
And maybe what he's doing in the 180 department, he's now mimicked what Jim McEwan did by getting 3 maxes. If he believes
135.
that he can succeed, I think he will. But for too long, I believe Lee Cox
60.
has been a glass half empty kind of guy. He's lovely. He will do anything for anybody else. Now it's time for him to help himself
59.
by actually believing in how good he is.
I also wonder as well with Lee, because we know how much passion he has for the game. I wonder sometimes whether he's wanted it a bit too much.
180.
But he is fancying it and sensing it now.
This is a great performance.
46. Lee, you require 81.
He's got Henry Coates on toast. Somebody passed the knife in the butter. That's okay.
17 left.
He's got 17 left. Just don't hit a 20.
65.
Why would you when you're throwing as well as he is?
He is in a zone and he is on the cusp of a big win to kick off his night.
91. Lee, you require 16.
Well, puff of the cheeks from Henry Coates may be a sign of resignation. He's left himself on 170, but he probably doesn't expect to come back. Because Cox is looking at 88.
No score.
But 3
Henry, you
darts
require
kiss the wire,
170.
but they all go a-begging.
Hold the phone. Oh, he's almost hung up the phone.
131. Lee, you require
Great attempt from
16.
Coates. 5 darts missed for the match at double A for Lee Cox. Make that 6.
But
Game
7
shot
is
and the
heaven
match,
for Lee Cox. He gets over the line in the end, but that was a really good display for the most part. His scoring was superb. 4 180s, and the first few legs, he just cast aside Henry Coates. That's the tail of the tape. Cox a 4-1 winner. Coming up in a few moments' time, it's Adam Sevada against Jim McEwan. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. Before the break, Lee Cox got the better of Henry Coates by 4 legs to 1. Hit 4 180s in that contest and up and running with a big win. Well, Jim McEwan put in a superb performance. First up, an average of 103.66 and a 4-0 dismantling of David Evans. He returns to the Yoki here to take on the 12th and final player we're yet to see in week 1 in Adam Sevada, the Reaper from the United States, from Arizona. And he is looking to put the heat on the opposition. 40 years of age from Parker. Over here, the only Parker you get is a pen when you go to the funeral directors. Up against Jim McEwan, the 58-year-old from Maybole in Scotland, the former Series 5 champion. And looking to make it 2 wins out of 2 to kick off his night. But Sevada had a superb season. Qualified for the World Championship for the first time in his career. Beat Matt Campbell in the first round of the tournament. Went out to Charlie Manby in round 2 and went out with a bit of a whimper. And I think he'd be the first to admit that. But take nothing away from a year where he made real sustained progress. We saw him here around about this time at the beginning of 2025. In fact, Sevada threw the first dart of 2025 in Modus Super Series darts. He made it all the way through to the final where he would lose out in the end to Alex Small. The pair exchanged some superb contests over the course of that particular week. But what we're going to see from the man who walks on to Hell's Bells by, as Annie McCoy would call him, AC/DC.
Things we didn't expect Henry Deegan to say tonight. And how? Well, here is the
16.
big fella from Parker, Arizona, which is right on the Colorado River. It's actually not that far from California. Quite a unique place to live. Parker is very small.
140.
I suppose it takes about just as much time to get to Palm Springs as it does to get to Phoenix in that part of the country.
98.
They have an airport and they don't have much else. So maybe that's a good thing. But what they have is Adam Sevada, who is one of the best players in North America.
Well, last year, the best player in North America, he
60.
won the CDC Order of Merit at the end of the 2025 season. He picked up 5 titles on the North American circuit, which allowed him to participate in his first World Championships come the end of last season. And I suppose the actual question is going to be, can he kick on? Can he continue that rich vein of form into 2026? And Sevada actually, on his way here, missed his flight to the United Kingdom. So it's been a bit of a mad dash tale of events over the last few days. I mean, I don't know who would miss a flight at all.
He's
missed the ball as well.
154.
McEwan not off to the same sort of start in this game as the last, unless he hits this, which he now won't.
$58. Adam, you require 25.
Let's see what route Sevada wants to do with this. Traditional 9 for double 8.
17.
That opens the door for McEwan to break in this first leg. I'm sure Jim is feeling very fresh. Not a great deal of competitive action recently. But he is finishing pretty well. 4 out of 6 in his first game. Takes him a little bit longer to get his first leg in this third game of the session. But he's off and running. Hitting with his second attempt. This is very, very promising for Jim.
Well, Adam's spent a lot of time in Europe over the course of the last 6 weeks or so. Played at the World Championship, playing here this week as McEwan piles in the first max of the contest. He also participated at EUQ School where he found himself in the second stage, picked up 6 points. Over the course of 4 days worth of action, mainly down to one really strong day on the final day's worth of action. Got wins over Simon Tayson, Mark Spolt, Benjamin Pracknamer, before then losing 6-0 to Pascal Ruprecht. As McEwan went 5 into the 9.
Interesting win against Pracknamer. He's got a card now. First Slovenian ever to get one. And it was always going to be him. He's the best player in Slovenia by a mile.
Whatever Jim McEwan had for dinner, I want to know. Because he averaged 103 in his opening match. And he's going through Vitalite gears here.
It's winter. If it's Scottish food, it's Stovies. It's a traditional mashed potato style dish from Scotland, and it's delicious.
140. Jim, you require 46.
He hasn't lost a leg tonight. He might be 6-0 up if he hits this. Might have changed his darts, but he's not changing his tactics.
Game shot on the second
Why
leg,
would you?
Jim McEwan.
Both players averaging in excess of a ton. But Adam Sevada, regardless of what he does, is unable to stop the Chucky steam train in operation. Full steam ahead.
140.
I am absolutely fascinated by this town, Parker, in Arizona, and what's around it. I'm going to have to go there. You've got the Joshua Tree National Park, which is the national park that U2 named after their late 80s smash hit album.
60.
Slightly north of Parker is Lake Havasu City. Go a little bit further north towards Laughlin, Nevada. You've got Bullhead City. They've got to have a darts tournament there. A little bit further north is a small town called Las Vegas. And if you go left, you can go through Barstow, California, on the way to Los Angeles.
I think we need to see if Pluto will commission us to go out there. Me and you on a road trip. It's what the viewers would want to see.
Might need him in the end, the Reaper.
Forget the Reaper. He's going to be more Weeper at the minute, the way that he's playing and what Jim McEwan's doing by way of apply.
It's much better from Adam in this leg, though.
Well, Sevada's averaging 107, and Jim McEwan is just shutting him down.
He's not going to leave a finish, and he's livid.
137.
Just in case
Adam, you require 130.
Adam doesn't polish up his doubling, because he has had 3 darts and no hits. There's no reason why McEwan can't stay in this leg.
94.
Although that switch makes the likelihood of winning this leg a little bit slimmer.
He's going to be under it, Sevada.
Leave 3. Leave 3. Okay, don't.
159. Adam, you require 36.
Well, this is supersonic tungsten.
Game shot in the third
14
leg. Adam
darter.
Sevada.
Put Sevada on the board.
Quality of darts tonight.
Jim to throw
By
first.
far and away the
Game
best
up.
we're seeing this week in multiple matches. Shirt of Sevada, designed by the same guy who does the stuff for Stowe Bunts. And he does a mighty fine job.
140.
The man I like to call the Picasso of dart shirts.
I actually met him. There's a guy called Dave Garfunkel. Met him at Lakeside back in December. And I'll tell you what, he's one of the most impossibly nice people you could ever wish to meet.
Really hope he's got a brother or a cousin called Simon.
Yeah, but you can call me Al.
81.
You do not want to see the face that Paul Nicholson's just pulled. Oh, well, that.
120.
Sound Effect City? That is not a town in Arizona. That? I've never heard that before.
It's basically pinged between the two darts, isn't it?
That was like a broken bed spring.
That's a sound effect that's
60.
more reminiscent of a wicket tumbling at the cricket.
He won't know anything about cricket.
Well, he would, just not the one with the bells and the bats and the balls.
I'm going to
40.
presume that Sevada is an Arizona Diamondbacks fan. But I've presumed before and I've been wrong before. Jim hasn't been wrong in this department
180.
at all.
Adam, you're
Seriously.
101.
5 180s for the night. We're in the middle point of his second game.
Well, statistically, this is the best match of the year so far. And it's going to take some effort to try and top what we're seeing thus far in this
Jim
contest.
require
McEwan
40.
running to an average just underneath the 110 mark. And he's looking at tops after 12 to make it 3-1. At his best, he never misses this target. However, he's skewed one wide. And from 2-0 down, Sevada's going to get a chance to square up at 2-2.
You've just given him the kiss of death with that statement.
16. Adam, you require 52.
Double 16. Only 16 left.
36.
Unfortunately,
Jim, you
still.
require 24.
Notice how McEwan did not leave himself on 32 because he prefers the top of the board.
Big dart.
Game
Big hit.
on the fourth leg.
And
Jim
any
McEwan.
small microscopic hope that Adam Sevada had has gone to the well. And he's going to have to go to
Fifth
the
leg
well
is
here.
Adam to
He's
the
3-1
first.
down.
Game on.
But luckily for him, and I say luckily, the only saving grace he's got is he's 3-1 down, but he only has to break McEwan once.
140.
Which is a much easier said than done task.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many wells they've got in the desert as well. We've had some people travel here to the Modus Super Series from some very unusual locations.
180.
Particularly our friend from North America, Jacob Taylor. Well, quite frankly, what's it going to take to stop Jim
57.
McEwan tonight? He's playing phenomenal.
I've seen the script before. And at some point, I think Jim McEwan is going to get very close to
100.
doing something spectacular. He's averaging just under 105 here. But there just feels like something ultra special in the air with Chucky this evening.
He looks refreshed. And I'm starting to believe in these skinny darts.
140.
And it just goes to show, doesn't it? Maybe a big change can have a profound difference. Stephen Bunting added 50% to his barrels, and he went to number 4 in the world. Jim McEwan has taken
60.
grammage
Adam,
off
you
his
require
barrels,
164.
and he is thriving.
I'm getting vibes of 2022. A year where Liz Truss was outlasted by a cabbage.
140. Jim, you require 161.
And a year that Jim McEwan was doing special things week in, week out. He's not going to take out the 161 to win this match. Sevada's going to return for 212s to force Chucky to serve it out in the
99.
next.
Adam,
Who actually won our
requires
last ever event in
24.
Southampton, the champion of champions, beat Conor Heenahan in that final.
Game shot on the
Well, that's a
fifth leg,
13
Adam
darter. The legs that
Sevada.
Sevada's won have been in 14 and 13. Back to 3-2. McEwan forced to serve
Sixth
it
leg
out.
is Jim to throw first. Game on.
He needed that towel at the World Championship. When he played his 2 games, it was warm up there. It was unseasonably warm outside of the Palace. It was somewhere in the region of 11 degrees for most of the tournament.
81.
Towards the end, it got a bit colder. But it took the players by surprise just how hot it was on the stage. But then again,
100.
you could say that his local open, which is the Las Vegas Open, happened last weekend. He played in the Las Vegas Classic as well, but did not win either title. In the Open, he lost to Jason Brandon in the last 16. He went on to win the tournament. therefore booking his spot at
140.
Lakeside at the end of 2026, if he so chooses. In the Las Vegas Classic, which was defended by Chris Lim, he lost to Charlie Harrison in the last 32, and
60.
he did not play very well at all. So maybe he's just got to forget about that and move on to the next challenge.
This weekend on the WDF circuit, they head to Canada for the Snowflake Open.
Good name.
180.
Solid. Just like that. 7th 180 of the night? I had to triple check that. I'm running out of
100.
superlatives for Jim McEwan at the minute. This is extraordinary. Nobody knew what kind of form he was in. I think we can see he's in pretty good nick now.
Well, we said that there's a few questions for players to answer. Well, they're answering it emphatically. No more so than Jim McEwan,
80.
who, if he pinned that tops, would have wrapped it up with a dozen darter. Adam Sevada averaging 102, and he's getting next to no change out of his opponent.
Well, let's face facts. David Evans has had his statistical best performance against McEwan, and he didn't get any legs.
61.
Sevada,
Jimmy required 20.
above 100, might not get more than 2 legs off him.
Double 10. Well, that's
Shot
back-to-back
and a match,
ton plus
Jim
averages for
McEwan.
Jim McEwan to kick the night off. The Series 5 champion has laid down the gauntlet for the rest. It was an average of 103.66 at the opener, and he surpassed it there with an average of 104.29, 4 for 10 on his finishing. For Adam Sevada, he averaged in excess of a ton, and it meant absolutely nout. Coming up next, David Evans takes on Lee Cox. Well, if you've joined us for top-level darts, you're in the right place tonight because we have seen some tremendous action here in Group B. Before the break, the Series 5 champion Jim McEwan, with an average of 104.29, 4-180s, got the better of Adam Sevada 4-2. Sevada himself averaged in excess of a ton, but it was insurmountable against the former champ. So let's get into Game 4 then, shall we? And a meeting between David Evans and Lee Cox. For Lee, he hit 4 180s en route to a 4-1 success over Henry Coates. As for David Evans, well, he was kind of Jim McEwan's pacemaker in that opening win for Chucky, averaging 103.66 and winning 4-zip. Now, I'm going to give you the scoreline of this game, but I just don't know in which direction.
100.
I think this game finishes 4-3 on the basis that so far tonight, we've had a 4-0, followed by a 4-1, followed by a 4-2.
120.
If we're going to go in line with the pattern, then we're going to see all 7 legs in this contest. For David, is it a case of just brushing aside what happened in the first one? Because he'd be happy enough with his performance. Didn't really get too much by way of opportunity. It's just the odd dart here and there. But he'll know if he can just carry on playing to that standard. In theory...
97.
In theory, he should get a bit more joy if he plays to that standard.
Yeah, he did get 3 chances in that game.
140.
Conceivably, he could have won 3 legs. 2 darts at the bull, 1 at double 14. He didn't hit any of them, hence the 4-0.
45.
His
David,
job is
you
to
require
create more
121.
opportunities and hope that Lee Cox is not going to have the same amount of maximums as his previous match. The start, pretty decent.
105.
More than decent. That's a beautiful setup from Dave. But here's what's interesting about this night tonight. 14 180 so far in this group. It's game 4.
119, David.
There were
you
only
require
26
16.
this afternoon.
Game shot in the first leg. David Evans.
Quality tonight. I'm telling you, dart players do prefer to play at night.
Well, I've
Second leg
just
is
been
Lee
given
to
a
throw
stat from
first.
my good pal and colleague, Taylor Nello, who does some amazing work here at the Super Series. We go back to Series 11,
100.
Week 1, Group B, Session 1. Highest ever session average was hit by David Evans. 102.82 across all 4 matches.
60.
However, he only won 2 of those said games.
Did you say Series 11?
Indeed. That was the week where
45.
Jeffrey Smith beat Daniel Ayres in the final.
I think the only person who's called him Jeffrey in the last
140.
50 years is his mum. I'm pretty sure he's going to be back at some point in 2026.
70.
For the first time tonight, it looks like Lee Cox is a little bit frustrated. He's going to be more frustrated in a second.
120.
That's not a bounce out. That is a flight collision.
180.
And that is a maximum. That is how you turn a leg around, potentially. Someone gets a dart on the floor, and then you just twist the knife.
58. Lee, you require 106.
So this to square up at 1 apiece. 106 for Cox. And he's going to get a poke at tops. On double 18 by diverting low into the 10.
Game shot
The
on the
double
second
18
leg,
is
Lee
found.
Cox.
And Lee Cox is back on level terms. They're back at 1 apiece. The first top of the night.
Third leg is David to throw
286
first.
in
Game
6. And he was in trouble in that leg. And another maximum.
180.
I'm sure this has probably happened before, but not very many times.
59.
Can a Group B with 5 fewer games in a session hit more 180s than a Group C?
With 15 already. 1-5 in 3 and a bit matches.
59.
The rate they're going, I reckon by game 6 they'll have caught it. He's like a different animal now. Playing early in the day doesn't suit him. And I know he's had 28 points in the Group A before, but something is different tonight. Maybe it's the haircut.
45. David, you require 41.
Not the only person at the live lounge to have had a haircut today. Double top for Evans. Double
James
10.
on the third leg. David
Well, that wasn't a
Evans.
close shave, was it?
Fourth leg is
He's
Lee
got
to
form
throw
for this.
first.
We've seen him play this well before. And Lee Cox should take this as a compliment.
180.
If you're not enjoying this, you don't like darts. They are making that treble 20
100.
look like the size of Bournemouth, which is another town on the south coast.
That treble 20 is weeping for mercy.
100.
The treble's not big enough.
125.
It wasn't on that occasion. And the funny thing is, he needed a maximum to get back into some sort of level score.
45.
Oh, Lee, what you doing? You should have gone at the 17s with Dart 3, and you know it now. There's no such thing as a mulligan in darts.
59.
He has gotten away with it this time. I'll tell you one thing. You can see the shoes he's wearing here tonight. You don't have to be a genius to know who makes them. But I tell you what, when another
62.
Cox was at the head of the Professional Darts Corporation, he wouldn't have allowed that. He'll have said, get those shoes off. Put on something like what Dave's wearing.
Dress codes
95.
have
Lee
most
record
certainly
114.
relaxed over the years. Well, this is for second on top of the match.
74.
Top's just
David,
too
you've
high.
got 122.
Edmonds looking at the 1-2-2 to go 3-1 up.
Like Jack and Jill said, well, well. Double 7.
108.
But they didn't say well,
Lee
well, well.
require 40. Game
Top of the
shot, fourth
beanstalk.
leg,
Beautiful.
Lee Cox.
2-2. Great game.
Really impressive. So David Evans is averaging 107.71, but
leg
he's
is
been
David to
pegged
throw
back to
first,
level
came
terms
up.
here by Lee Cox, who's averaging 89.19.
Therefore proving that averages mean nothing. You don't get bonus points for a big average.
140.
This is just a great game of darts. It's not about what they've done recently. It's not about what they could prospectively do. It's about what they're doing now to
97.
each other. They are comfortable with the pace. They're comfortable with how they're playing.
60.
That's why we can't take our eyes off it.
Although I have been told that Andreas Harrison had the record for highest ever session average, 104.95, Series 10 week A. Group B, Day 1.
44. David, you require 124. $84. $140. David, you require 40.
To take the lead once again. Double 10 to stop Cox from getting a chance.
20. Lee, you
Could
require
be another ton plus
117.
check out. He had the 106. This is not that different. But you can't do it now. One thing he didn't want to do was drift away from the
60.
20s.
David, you require 20.
That could be a kind marker now that you've got the angle.
Game shot on the 5th
That's
leg,
exactly what he
David
used. He
Evans.
looks a lot sharper tonight.
So Evans, 3-2.
6th leg is Lee to throw first. $85. $100.
Can Evans get off the mark on the points with McEwan sitting on 4?
84.
He's already off the mark. But if he can manage to pinch this away from Evans, he will dent any sort of confidence
134.
he has got from the way he's played in the game and a half that he's already completed.
60.
It is very, very noticeable that David Evans is
60.
having a lot less bad darts here tonight. Whatever he's done, it seems to be working.
125.
Also feels like the 180s have dried up. We've only got 3 in this game.
$83. Lee, you require 147.
Take us all the way for the first time. We've been nowhere near going all the way here this evening.
100. David, you require 124.
Let's see if we do or not. We might not in the end. His 3rd dart of the bullseye tonight.
99.
And he's getting even closer.
Lee, you require 47.
Take us all the way, Lee. Wrong double.
29. David, you require 25.
Just like a double 8 shot earlier on. It was right on line, but it had the weight that he didn't want.
Game shot.
And David
the
Evans
match,
takes full
David
advantage.
Evans.
That is a very good game of darts. And another ton plus average for a spectacular evening here in week 1 in Group B. Evans with the ton plus average and 4 out of 11 on the doubles. It could have been even better. But he'll take the 4-2 win. Welcome back to the action here at the Live Lounge. We are still on the south coast of Hampshire in the UK. And we're about to see a cross-Atlantic battle between Henry Coates and the man from Arizona in the United States, who didn't play badly at all in his first game, averaging over 100, but didn't get the win. And of 8 averages registered here tonight, half of them have been in 3 figures, which is very impressive. But not all of them are yielding victories. I think Henry Coates should be buoyed by the fact that everybody else is starting to play top-level stuff. He's got to join the party, otherwise he might get left behind. Whoever loses this game will remain pointless and will become the chaser instead of the chased.
139.
Good start from the young man from Derbyshire. And he's already sent a message to his American opponent that this is going to be no cakewalk, Mr. Deacon.
100.
No, it's not. BT between 2 players who've had success on their respective circuits.
94.
We mentioned Henry Coates' Rising Stars victory. He also won the last development tour title of 2025.
58.
Sorry, 2024, shall I say. Won DT24. Where he got the better of Owen Roloffs in the final by 5 legs to 3.
180.
Beat Sebastian Białecki in the semi-finals. Anton Ersland in the quarters. And a certain Rusty Jake Rodriguez in the last 16.
140.
And he could be off to a potential 11 dart start here if he gets this wrapped up in 2, which he's not going to, but he can get it done in 6 if he so wants. Needs himself on tops after 12 to put himself 1 up in this game.
59. Henry, you require 40. Game shot in the first leg. Henry Coates.
So Coates 1 up.
Second leg is Adam to throw first. Game on.
What do you think Adam is thinking right now? Because it feels like he stepped into some sort of darting abyss where everybody's playing out of their skin.
123.
Well, there was a famous song called The Midnight Train to Georgia. Well, at this present moment in time, Adam Sevada will feel as if he's going on the
92.
midnight train to nowhere.
Gladys Knight and the Pips, wasn't it?
I believe so.
58.
Of course, Henry Coates will not know anything about that song because he's way too young. He is now the same age as the world champion.
99.
Henry Coates, a man born in the same year that Umbrella by Rihanna got to the top of the UK charts.
140.
Gordon Brown became Prime Minister.
Yeah, let's forget about that.
And AC Milan won the Champions
100.
League by beating Liverpool in the final in Athens.
You never fail to astound me, Deacon.
140. Adam, you require
And yet you still don't know the
150.
answers to the questions at the quiz. Conan Whitehead did try 3 bulls this afternoon, and he did have a rather interesting 120 with 2 bulls.
60.
Well, Henry Coates is wielding the axe here. Very much so. 2-0 up.
Henry Coates.
Adam Sevada maybe confined to the basement if things keep going this way. This is a ridiculous session.
13, followed by 14. And Adam Sevada must be thinking, what on earth have I ran into here?
100.
More like, what did everybody have for dinner and what did I not have?
Well, Adam Sevada works as an undertaker day by day.
Not the only one in darts. Nigel Hayden from Warwickshire. Undertaker as well. Nicknamed The Undertaker. And has recently been selected for the England team. We send our congratulations to Nige.
92.
But the good thing about Group B as opposed to Group C, a slow start doesn't mean you're brown bread just yet.
180.
As Coates piled in another 180. His average here, 118 on the nose. If he gets this wrapped up in 11 and he can pile in another 4-visit leg, we're looking at Pilgrims 122.69 here.
Henry,
You've just put the hex on that. He's not going to do it now.
51. Yeah, 51 scored.
Although you never
Game
know.
shot on the third leg. Henry
By
Coates.
hitting the 87 and 2, his average has gone up by about half a point. So we are on record
leg,
watch.
it's Adam to throw
He's going to need
first.
something
Game on.
rather brilliant to break it, though. But what on earth is happening tonight?
That 118.66 was what Phil Taylor averaged in that infamous UK Open game against
42.
Kev Painter back in 2010.
And it used to be the record here, held by Jason Crawley. That was the record for
96.
ages, until it was eclipsed by Daryl Pilgrim. What's the best he can do from 405? Max again.
180.
11 darter. It's a lot to ask. And now it's Sevada getting in on the act.
46.
Well, from 405, it looks like ever 404 as far as getting the record average is concerned. Adam Sevada hoping to get a leg on the board in this contest. Just ask a question of Henry
42.
Coates. That's all he can do at this present moment in time. Ask questions and see if he buckles.
Oh, come on. 20
180.
maximums tonight. 20. It's not even the end of game 5. This is ridiculous.
We've sat here for many a session at the Live Lounge. I cannot remember many as good as this. This is a tungsten treat on this Thursday night.
86.
And Henry Coates is 6 darts away from 179 to wrap this game up with a monster average.
47.
Oh
Adam
my.
Coates,
That was a good
151.
47. The curious thing is, Henry is only just about old enough for champagne. And if he finds this, Adam
87.
Sevada's going to be
Henry
dizzy.
132.
Well, this to put the cap on what would have been the most incredible of performances.
38.
Well, that's the way to get 2
Adam, you
nines.
require 64.
If he tried that, he wouldn't be able to do it again. Adam has been hit hard. Now. That is 40 points somehow to leave double 12.
52. Henry, you require
That's
94.
the first dart he's had at a double in this game. It might be the only one he gets. Coates to put the cap on it. Went double, unable to get.
58.
So Sevada's going to get 3 more. He's going to get 3 in a hand at
Adam,
double
you
6.
require 12.
To at least give himself some kind of launch pad in this contest. He can work with that. But now one left at double 3.
9.
Well, he's
Henry,
gone
you
down
require
south, and it looks like
36.
this game's going south for Sevada. Because Coates looks at double 18.
Game shot
And
and the
what a
match,
performance
Henry
that was from that young man. He won the Rising Stars title in August, and he's shown us why he really is a future champion in the making. It was a champion's performance, an average of 105.47. For large swathes of it, he was averaging in excess of 110. Just marvel over those numbers. And spare thought for poor Adam Sevada. He's been hit by 2 monster averages tonight. And so we've passed the halfway stage of tonight's proceedings. We'll wrap up the results. We'll have a look at the table on the other side of this short break. and breathe. What a night of darts we've been treated to here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. We've been turning up for fun on this Thursday. Jim McEwan kicked the show off with a 4-0 win over David Evans, averaging 103.66. He then backed it up with an average of 104 against Adam Sevada, who himself averaged a ton in a 4-2 defeat. Then up-stepped David Evans, an average of 100.08 in a 4-2 win over Lee Cox. And then before the break, the best of the lot, Henry Coates with an average of 105.47. It was in excess of 110 for Large Swaves as he deposed the Sevada to 0. So it means that at the halfway point, Jim McEwan top of the pile for points to his name as far as the league table is concerned as we head into match number 6 of our night. So, here we go then, to the second half of the evening's action, and it is McEwan and Cox on the stage. For Chucky, he's been chucking some superb stuff, running at around about an average of 104 for the evening up to press. He's had 7 180s in his opening 2 games. He has just been a delight to watch this evening. As for Lee Cox, well, averaging around about 88 and change for the evening. He hit 4 180s himself in a 4-1 demolition of Henry Coates to kick off his night, but found himself on the receiving end of a ton-plus average against David Evans in match 4. But Jim McEwan will look at this league table here and think, if I can win this match, I will temporarily open up a 4-point gap on the rest. And when you consider how well everyone else is playing, the bigger the gap you can build, the better you'll feel going into tomorrow.
I've only got one word for you. Blackjack. 21 180s. McEwan set the tone. It's all his fault. He's the one who got 3 in his first game, and everybody's just had to follow. We've seen some great Group B action over the last 3.5 years in this building. This is right up there. Every game, bar one, has had a 3-figure average. And the one that didn't, that was where Lee Cox had 4 180s and 42. Played really well. Please do not stop doing what you're doing, guys. This is great to watch.
Max.
His name's Jim.
140.
Well, that I thought was Max if ever I saw a Max.
Sorry. That was just too tempting.
85. Jim, you require 136.
I think the message has been sent. If you do not turn up against Jim McEwan tonight, you are going to lose.
Jim McEwan is having more toast than a Premier Inn breakfast buffet tonight. Such is the 76. Way he's carving apart the opposition.
I've also just noticed what Jim has got on his neck, which is some new ink Jim, based on what's 60. Usually on the back of his collar. Double top. A rare miss.
50.
And a chance for Cox. However, this is a very difficult shot. Almost. When a dart player misses a treble by that much, it's always the pursed lips.
53. Jim,
so double 5 10. For Chucky to take the opening salvo.
No score.
Uh-oh.
Lee, you require 81.
That wasn't good. Lee doesn't believe that. He thinks that was brilliant. Because he's got double 13.
68.
Not seeing a great deal of joy on double 13 this week.
10.
People are leaving it, but not hitting it.
Turns out it's unlucky for some. As McEwan looks at 5s to open up. Can he just move that ½ an inch below? Well, he's overcompensated. And so 8. Cox is going to come back
Lee,
looking at 13 to break.
Series 13, week 1, night 1 of Group B, and he takes out 13.
Lee Cox.
That's an unexpected lead.
Second leg is Lee to throw first. Game on.
It's probably 13 years ago since Lee Cox had a hair out of place. I'm sure he wakes up and looks like this.
96.
I don't know what's more calming. Looking at Lee's head or seeing a Japanese Zen garden being raked.
$100.
Look, it's just such a beautiful thing.
$140.
He might not relent now that he's got the lead. It's not the same sort of start as we had in previous Jim McEwan matches, but
49.
get a lead, keep it, get the points.
$45.
It does make a man that's rather challenged in the hair department rather jealous.
Do you know what? I've got a theory as well about Lee's darts. As much as he was hitting a 9-darter and playing some great stuff with those Gezi darts,
180.
these are his. There's something about that. They are similar to the Gezi darts, but they are his darts.
140.
They're not anybody else's. They're not designed by anybody else. They're designed specifically for him. They are tailored to his needs. And if these don't work, then maybe he's not destined for the next level. Some people need that personalization touch
86.
to be able to
League
find that
require
extra
80.
1, 2, 3%. Is he finding it? Seems to be
Game
the
shot in the
case.
second leg,
He's the
Lee
one who's troubling McEwan for the first time tonight.
Well, now it's Chucky who's getting out chucked in this
Third leg is
contest.
Jim to throw first. Game on.
14 darter to go 2-0 to the good. And McEwan for the first time tonight has it all to do. He was asked questions against Adam Sevada in his previous game, but if the truth be told, he was kind of in
123.
control of it throughout the duration. But Cox is putting it up to him.
59.
And we're going to see how McEwan's going to respond.
I've got a challenge for Jim by the end of the week. If he makes Saturday before he takes to the stage, he's got to do the very famous woodchuck
83.
tongue twister in his own accent. Now there's a bit of social content I want to see. But only if
96.
he qualifies.
You just reminded me of something, Nico, in regards to Lee Cox. Do you remember Rafty Coxey?
Of course. Myself and Matthew Edgar created
95.
Rafty Coxey.
Courtesy of our friends on AI.
Yeah. It's one of the greatest things ever created by AI. Just before Chaz Barstool.
And Conan the
60.
Barbecue.
Conan the Barbecue is a wonderful thing.
You had both Andreas Harrison and Andreas Scarrison.
Oh, that's a scarily good 140. McEwan is starting to fight back.
95. Jim, you require 60.
I think Lee would be okay with losing this leg. You don't ever want to lose a leg, but based on his position, he's thinking, okay, let's get rid of this one. Let's attack in the next one. That's if McEwan can find a double, that is.
50.
Because he can't in this game. He's had 8 darts at a double and missed them all.
Well, in this leg, Rafty Coxey's going up a creek without a paddle.
140.
However, he's beginning
Jim,
to
you
swim
require
against the tide.
10.
He's asked the question of McEwan if he can't convert this.
He's had so many problems with double 5.
Game shot
And
in the
has
third leg,
finally
Jim
found it.
McEwan.
We can go back to the Joshua tree now.
Fourth leg is
Because
Lee
that
to throw
album had a
first.
song.
Game on.
Finally found what he's looking for.
Wasn't that also a Tom Grennan track? It was actually
60.
the Super Sunday track for a couple of years.
No, Henry.
Perhaps most famous for that advert for the famous razor blade company.
60.
It sounds a little bit like Mike Gillett.
One of the only Welsh players that doesn't live in Wales.
Yes,
100.
Chandler's Ford's finest. Now Jared Cole doesn't live there anymore.
How does McEwan get back into this then? Does he just ride the coattails of Cox and hope that he'll get a
44.
chance? Maybe the key lies with getting back on the 180 train. He's got 2 in this game, but it feels like a long time since he had one.
100.
No time like the present. But you don't just click your fingers and hit a 180 just like that. You see? They're a lot harder to come by when you put a little bit of extra pressure on yourself.
83.
Well, McEwan just beginning to sing to the tungsten tune a little bit more now.
57.
But is Lee Cox just beginning to crash here? Following a positive start, this game is being equilibralized a little bit more.
$100.
That is perfect.
81.
I don't think Lee's going to mind me saying this, but that's an atrocious 81. That first start was so perfect. He should have walked away with at least a 2 big treble visit. I think he understands that in the back right now. That should have been a lot more.
100. Lee
The
requires
only way he feels better
103.
about it is if he takes the 103 out. And he's the only person with a ton plus checkout tonight.
84.
Almost a second.
Jim, you require 114.
And the main reason why there hasn't been many ton plus checkouts tonight is because players haven't needed ton plus checkouts because they've left themselves on things like 81 after 9 on a frequential basis or double after 12 on a frequential basis. But Lee Cox is coming back for the Paul Hardcastle
74.
finish.
Lee, you require 19.
No, 19. No, 19.
Double 8.
3.
Not the first double
Jim,
miss
you
he's had
require
at double 8.
40.
He's letting McEwan back into this. He's got every right to shake his head because this could be a 7-visit break. Not double 5 again. He's
Game
getting the
shot
hang of
fourth
it.
leg, Jim McEwan.
That's a bit salty. Someone needs to take a walk,
Fifth leg is Jim to throw first.
but he's limited for space.
Game on.
That will sting.
But unlike that Shawaddy Waddy track, he wasn't walking under the moon of love. He's walking the tungsten tightrope because McEwan, he's not playing at his best, but he's finding what he needs when he has to.
He's got 10 180s tonight. 10.
100.
We've been talking about players in Group A this week getting 10 in a day after 5 matches. This is the middle portion of his 3rd game.
38.
If this is Jim McEwan rusty, what on earth is he going to be like in 3 months?
Well, the Lakeside's his target. Place like this, he's going to be dangerous at Lakeside.
70.
He did say it, that he thinks that time is running out. If he wants to be a Lakeside winner, he might have, in Paul Lim terms, another 12 years.
100.
Oh, come on, Jim. This is getting silly.
3 180s against David Evans, 4 180s against Adam Sevada, and 4 180s here against Lee Cox.
Gonna have to start digging out the records for most 180s in a Group B evening. It's absurd, is what it is. Double 12. Astonishing. Great darts from McEwan. Maybe he was a bit fortunate to take leg 4, but leg 5, he owned the whole thing.
6th leg, it's Lee to throw first. Game on.
I remember Group B, which entailed Luke Littler, James Richardson, Leonard Gates, et al. Back in June 2023. It was a group from the gods. And this is being played to a similar standard and to a similar standard. And the numbers, well, they're just going up and up and up.
This one's not about the averages. This is about Jim McEwan doing great things at crucial times, like a third dart double 5, like a key maximum or 4. When he plays like this, he is an absolute joy to watch.
100.
A lot of people talk about his pace, and they say he's very deliberate, but when he's on song, he is fabulous.
58.
I have genuinely enjoyed every single second of tonight. And let's be honest, because we've got to be honest, we don't see every session played like this. We don't always see a night where you think, oh my goodness, I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. I think I will tonight, though.
44.
We're looking for number 25 of the night, but we're not going to get it because he didn't need it.
39.
If Cox does not get a max, he might not put on enough pressure to stop McEwan from being on 6 points
95.
after 3 games played.
Junior requires 62.
Well, he's cooking on gas here, Jim McEwan. And he's oh so close to crossing the finishing line. Tops for the match, and tops a win number 3.
Game shot
Jim
and the match,
McEwan is in a league of his own in this Group B. It may not be the stunning averages of his first 2 games, but another 4 180s and another commanding win, this time over Lee Cox, sees him 4 points clear of the opposition. Next up for us, David Evans takes on Henry Coates.
what a way to go. Super stuff.
12.
Another chance, and this time it is taken.
It's a win for Wilkie.
It will.
You knew it was going. You just knew it was going.
Tops.
That
is a perfect tops.
Takes a pause, a rare pause, but that's worked a treat. The gun finally fires.
When was a guy like me have a chance to win a title like this, and it's massive, not just for me, for my family, everyone.
Next week's action sees a little bit of everything, and I'll tell you what, if you like your darts with a little bit of edge, then this is the week for you, because we're going to see Jose Justicio in action, we've got Tommy Morris in action, we're going to see the return of Matt Clark, 3-time weekly winner here at the Live Lounge, and a debut for Keanu Van Velzen, the younger brother of the Series 8 winner, Marvin Van Velzen. Group P, we're going to see David Wazowski. It is always good to see David here at the Live Lounge. He's going to be alongside Ricardo Burnett and Mark Dubbridge. Group C sees Richard McKee, Michael Huntley and Joshua Burksfield in the field. And we get underway Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. We're live on Pluto TV for that. So let's get into match number 7 of the night. And it sees David Evans and Henry Coates go head-to-head, the two players that dropped out of Group A into this particular group, towing off. Well, next week we'll see Ricardo Bonetto. And we won't talk about Canettos, but we've seen a few averages above the 99 mark, haven't we? And we can put a flake in some of the performances that we've seen so far this evening. It's been superb, hasn't it, tonight?
It's been wonderful. Really enjoyed this evening.
Here's David to throw first.
As we get very close to the midnight hour, we do not want this to stop. Very interested to see Joshua Burksfield next week. He was very, very close to making Saturday the last time he was here. I think he's a good player. But there are plenty of reputations here next week. I think next week's going to be feisty.
140.
People who may not see eye to eye. Different types of players from different places. Yeah, you don't want to miss next week.
96.
It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, Scott Mitchell and Sam Mulliner with you for the long haul in Group A.
140.
And then we've got a world champion in the commentary box on Thursday, Friday and Saturday.
58.
Why is Scott working 5 days next week?
96.
These guys are champions on this stage. Evans off the mark
140.
in his previous match with a ton plus average against Lee Cox. But what's happening here? Oh, he's too good. Oh, he nearly bust 125.
110.
Does it make any difference? If Evans takes his single and his double, it'll make no difference.
90. Henry, you require 16.
So 2-8 for Coates. To seize the early initiative, to break the phone, go one up. And there would have been a right smile, because before play got underway this evening, these two are having a little chuck with one another on stage. And one of the games they were playing with one another was who could outbull the other. And so that might be why David Evans having a little bit of a chuckle when it
57.
Came to Henry Coates hitting a couple of bullseyes there.
100.
If David Evans had played like this over the first 3 days, he would have amassed a lot more points.
180.
He's doing it again. I know it's only early days, I grant that. But he's around that range he was at this point in his other match against Adam Sevada.
140.
He's in the 110s again.
How many 180s are we going to get tonight? 25 now.
140.
And I apologize in advance for how many times I'm saying how many we have, but it is very ridiculous.
I think it's going to be in the region of 35 to 40. Which, by the way, when we talk about Group A sessions, we think is rather ridiculous, let alone a 10-game group. Bull!
99.
Now he can't hit it when he needs it.
138.
Needs another one of those. Stunning. Double 12.
126. Henry, you require
He's played
25.
very well in this game. And he may just be 2-0 down. Darts can be weird.
Henry
Really weird. Evans has had 2 darts at a double. He's averaging 107.78 as you can see. But Coates, he's had 4 darts at double. He's hit 2 and he's 2-0 up.
Well, Coates is 2 to the good, and we were just mentioning off air before we went back live
96.
again that of the 6 matches that we've seen so far this evening, 5 of them are gone with throw. The only player to won against the darts this evening is Jim McEwan in that 4-2 win over Adam Sevada. He needed to average 104 to do exactly that. Coates himself averaging 104. And he is looking in fine fettle. It took him a game to get going.
100.
But he has found a purple patch. He has found a sweet spot.
Henry's found some purple flights that have worked really well since Tuesday.
60.
Every game they've had this week has been 4 legs to 1. 2 of them going the way of Coates.
162.
As if we're not getting maximums of plenty. There's a maximum on the 18s.
134. David, you've
This is a superb contest. Evans is averaging 110, and this is to bring it back to 2-1 to half the arrears. He's going to get 6 to do exactly that.
57.
But it'd be so systematic in this match if Coates piled in something big here. And that's gaping for a big score.
140. David, you require
They were
86.
so close together. Evans under pressure again. 1 more dart at a double is what he gets. And by missing that bullseye, he might be 3-0
Henry, you
down.
require 87.
All he's getting is 1 shot. But this time he gets more.
29.
It's one of those
David, you
games that
require
feels as if
48.
everything's getting punished. You
James
cannot
shot
make
the
a
third
mistake in
leg.
this game.
David Evans.
Evans back to 2-1 in a game where both players are averaging a ton.
4th leg, it's
Yeah, this
Henry
is an
to throw
MBG
first.
game, all right.
on.
Can't afford any mistakes. Isn't that what Michael used to say all the time?
60.
Usually when Michael says something, he's 100% correct. If he was saying that about this game, he'd be 100% correct again.
100.
And to think, this is a game between 2 players outside the esteemed 1-8. I think sometimes we actually take for granted that
180.
these players are not fully fledged professionals. These are players playing in the 2nd tier, the affiliate tours. But I don't think we'll see Henry Coates here for
134.
long. I think this will be his last year here before he then heads to the big time. And he's putting in a big time performance here.
Still got a lot to learn.
57.
Execution-wise, technique-wise, he's there. He will evolve. Scary thing is he hasn't even stopped growing yet.
100.
But the stuff he's about to learn in the next couple of years, it's between the ears. How he responds
78.
to adversity.
David, you require 167.
And he's already had that this week, and he's responding magnificently. Well, Evans, He really wants to take it a
57,
167 this week.
126.
He's not going to get it here. And Henry's not going to take something that Evans has hit twice this
86.
week.
David, you require 110.
Well, he's going to have to take out the 110. Triple 18 for the double. Not to be, and so Coates is going to get free at tops to go 3-1 up.
Henry, you require 40. Game shot on the fourth leg. Henry Coates.
Well, this is ruthless for both players, but it's Coates who has a 2-leg lead.
Fifth leg is David to throw first. Game on.
It's a really strange English word, that, you know. Ruthless. When was the last time you saw plenty of ruth?
60.
Look at this. He is hitting that board like he's throwing axes.
180.
And even David Evans is thinking, what on earth is this kid up to?
Leave that triple 20 alone. It's had enough, all right?
No, don't listen to him.
54.
Don't listen to that, Henry. You do what you want. Even when he's missing it by the tiniest of margins.
60.
I'll tell you what, it's about time that someone called Henry put in a good shift around here.
If you're not careful, I'm going to agree with you.
93.
What has David got to do to find a victory in this one? He might need a fourth dart.
Well, David is being put up against
100.
Goliath tonight, isn't he? Every single performance someone has put in has been decent. 103.66 against McEwan. Lee Cox averaged 87 and changed. But here, Henry Coates averaging over a ton.
140. Henry got
And he
161.
could well put the cap on it here. The 161 isn't going to go. Evans will return for the 154.
60.
Interesting.
David, you got 154.
So 101 for the match. For a fourth 4-1 scoreline in this
Henry, you
fixture
got
this week.
101.
Where does he go? Not to the outer ring is the answer.
61. David, you require 109.
Left himself on tops. And this is Hail Mary time for David Evans. 52 left. Options. Tops. 1 left to save the match.
Game shot.
And to David Evans, his credit he gets. He knew that was the only opportunity he was going to get to keep himself in this contest. He's found the 109. He's kept Coates at bay. And he's forced his opponent to serve it out here.
Another ton plus finish to add to his tally this week.
98.
If he keeps going at this rate, he's going to get 20 of them.
$100.
Well, that the over the board shot.
134.
That's in the treble 19 shot. My word. He might need the 19s again from 269. But the way he's been pummeling that 60, he might not need it at all.
60.
He doesn't need it. Astonishing.
77.
The treble's begging for mercy. David Evans is begging for mercy. But Henry Coates has backed up that previous
58.
performance where he averaged
92.
105.47 with another performance in excess of a ton. And he's got plenty of time to see it off, to see it through. And this time, David Evans hasn't got an
52.
answer.
He has got form for this, Coates. Earlier in the week, he finished 2 games back-to-back with 11 darters. This is not an 11 darter, but it feels just as good as that.
55.
And it will do
Henry,
if he
you
hits
require
tops.
40.
Double 10.
30.
But match darts are come and gone. But Evans isn't on the scene to intercept.
You've got to move down here now. Unless you're David Evans.
140.
Don't listen to
Henry, you
me.
require 10.
Well, now there's pressure.
Game
Pressure.
shot and the
What
match,
pressure.
Henry
What a
Coates.
performance from Henry Coates. In the end, the average is just under the 97 mark, but for large swathes of it, it was in excess of a ton. A 4-2 win against David Evans, who just looks absolutely bamboozled as to what he's been hit with tonight. That 109 was so classy to keep him in the contest, but Henry Coates just had too much. A 4-2 win for him. We need a lie down after that. And welcome back. We've got 3 more games to go here. And we see Lee Cox and Adam Sevada go head-to-head. Game 8 of 10 that we're watching tonight at the Live Lounge. And what a night we've seen. 27 180s over the course of 7 matches so far on this Thursday. A group which so far is dominated by Jim McEwan. 6 points to his names on all 3 of his matches. Henry Coates made it 4 points after a 4-2 win against David Evans before the break. As far as these 2 players are concerned, Adam Sevada, he finds himself down the bottom of the table without a point to his name. Lee Cox looking to move on to floor if he can get the better of the American in this game.
By the way, you do not want to miss the next match. Coates against McEwan, the 2 best players in the group so far tonight, and that's 59. Saying something. The responsibility here of Lee is to keep pace with Henry on 4 points. As 99. For Sevada, he's playing 2 of the last 3 games. He's got to get some points. If he doesn't, He's going to struggle to even make Saturday this time around.
140.
Let's face it, the way he played in week 1 at the start of last year,
55.
he was playing beautifully. Great darts. When he lost in the final to Alex Small, that was an upset.
194 left.
But then again, considering what Alec would go on to do in Series 12 by winning a second weekly title, it was retrospectively not an upset.
Well, having missed the first start, Adam Sevada found himself in a bit of a
98.
catch-22 there. Cox, 6 darts there for 176 to... Well, that's a perfect first dart. And he's in a very good position now to put himself a leg to the good. He's left himself on a double after 12. The standard tonight, Nico, has been exemplary.
Yeah, all of these players deserve the credit. They're the ones who are putting it all on the line up there.
46. Lee, you require
They are delivering.
36.
Under pressure. And
Game
hitting
shot in the
whatever
first
they
leg,
want.
Lee Cox.
If you can live in this group and thrive, you're
Second leg is
playing out of
Adam
your
to throw
skin.
first. Game on.
Well, not to go all Star Trekian on you, or Star Trekkie on you. If you get out of this group, you can live long and prosper here.
60.
That was Star Trek, right? Was it Star Trek?
It was.
Ah. Was that William Shatner?
140.
Was that Star Trek?
That was the first one. He was the first captain.
What do you prefer, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Neither.
180.
Well, we're seeing some stars in our eyes here. That's another max.
Yeah, Sevada is now on 2 for the night.
58.
Yeah, McEwan's got 11. Lee's got a tidy 6.
131.
That looks good.
95.
That one's a bit
Adam, you've got
short.
130.
Finally some breathing space for Adam.
58.
This might be a real education for the American. After the last time he was here, he knew that there's a big crop of quality players playing here. This is a step up. And there's another one for Lee.
Adam, you've got 72.
That's number 7 for him. And now Sevada's got to take this out. Breathing room? Nah. Doesn't
Game
need
shot
any.
in the second
Doesn't
leg,
get
Adam
claustrophobic, just
Sevada.
takes it out anyway.
Third leg is Lee to throw first. Game on.
Just the 150 so far.
First day of the week,
59.
31. Then another 31. Then a little bit more on Wednesday. There weren't a great deal of 180s this afternoon.
128.
There's been more in this group than this afternoon. And we've had 7.5 games, which is half the amount
60.
of the games in Group C.
Just having a look. We've got a stat screen up here in the commentary box here at the Live Lounge.
60.
And it's been a while since I've had a look up at a stat screen over the course of the session and I've seen a 1 and a 0 or something akin to that of the top of a player's average. That is how good the standard has been tonight.
140.
And we'll put it this way. You won't see many sessions like this throughout the course of 2026, so enjoy it.
Well, skeptics are going to say
140.
we can speculate, but it will be interesting for us to delve into the psyches of the players come night 2 to figure out what was so great about
44.
tonight. Because it's not just one player. They're all playing really well.
Well, we were speaking in the break between sessions, and we said this group had the
43.
potential of being one of two things. either lightning and electric like it has been tonight, or because there's question marks over one or two of the players involved, it could be a bit of a damp squib. Luckily, it's been the former.
55.
Yeah, we haven't had
Adam,
question
you've got
marks. We've had
130.
exclamation marks. How about a full stop?
105. Lee, you record 143.
Also known as the bullseye, not found.
Well, a chance here for Sevada to
60.
break.
Adam, you require
And he's
25.
desperately in search of a victory. He does play 2 of the last 3. So he can salvage his evening if he can have a strong end.
Game
But you
shot
get
the
the
third
sense this
leg,
match is
Adam
of the utmost
Sevada.
importance, and it's a contest. He now leads 2-1 with a break in hand.
Fourth leg, it's Adam to throw first. Game
Where does he
on.
get the points? Is it here? Is it against Evans in the final match? Is it both? Is it neither?
57.
They're the kind of things that go through a dart player's mind really fast. Here we go again.
140.
A somewhat disappointing 140. But a brilliant one all the same.
$140.
Well, actually, just having a look at the score in Power Pack, we've seen 7 140s in this game. Lee Cox has had 5. And we're only in the middle of the fourth leg of this
80.
contest. A match that Cox is averaging just underneath a ton in. Sevada 89. It's been a real high-quality contest. This has kind of been in keeping with what we've seen so far this evening.
58.
The way that Lee has played tonight, if he walks away with 2 points, he'll be scratching his head so much, one of his hairs might fall out of place.
You are fascinated by
40.
his hair, aren't
Of
you?
course I am. It's like a perfectly jet-washed driveway.
I think that might be the first time I've ever heard a person's hair be compared to a
125.
driveway.
I once saw Lee Cox at Gatwick Airport in southeast England. Wasn't even expecting to see him. He'd got off a plane from Spain. I'd come back from a European tour event thinking, if you're going to bump into someone like Lee, oh, he might be a bit dishevelled. No, not a hair out of place. Oh, Adam, what are you doing? Going for the treble? On a night like tonight, you can't make mistakes like that.
As our good friend and colleague Chris Mason would say,
85.
you chase the
You've got
treble, you
61.
pay the price. And he may well pay a big price here, because this game could be back on terms. If Cox can find double 9,
43.
he's been given a let off there.
Adam, you require 36.
Indeed he has. Double 9. Oh, not again.
28.
That tricky
Lee,
switch.
you require 18.
Well, it's the same equation for Cox. He's going to get 1 in hand, a double 4 to level up.
Game shot in the fourth leg.
Gets
Lee
it last
Cox.
start. We're back on terms. It's the best of 3 all of a sudden. And now it's Sevada's turn to make the trudge across the
Fourth
stage
leg,
rather
Lee to throw
disconsolately.
first. Game on.
Saw Lee Cox do that earlier on tonight. Get as far away from his I'll start that again. Get as far away from his opponent
60.
as he possibly can. That's not winning commentary moment of the year.
I wonder if Adam is making the biggest trip to Portsmouth in this series.
140.
It takes him 5 hours to drive to LAX in Los Angeles, 3 hours to Phoenix, so he can choose his airport. But that is a long flight. That's half a day
45.
in the air, and that is without a layover. That is a long, long way. If we do have players coming from Asia, maybe they're going to fly a little bit
57.
longer. And if we get some of our Australian and New Zealand friends back, you can double it.
60.
And you never know, we might have Stowe Bunce who might fly from Portsmouth to Portsmouth.
I would love to see Stu again. He put up such a big fight in his game at the Worlds. Came up just short.
44.
And he's one of those people, Stowe, as well. When you spend 5 minutes in his company, you just cannot help but to rate a smile. He's such an infectious human being.
60.
Some people have that effect on other dart players. I've said for years, the one person I've seen in the 3.5 years we've been here who's had the biggest effect on the practice room
60.
was Ben Robb. When he was here, everybody automatically was in a better mood. But Stowe was just like that.
55.
It's business. But there's a way of making business a little bit more fun.
I think there may well be only one more player that can enter that reefer of inspirational and
100.
someone that leaves you a smile on your face once you spent some time with them. And that player is Simon Adams. He was a hit.
Oh, what a beautiful play from
130.
Cox.
Adam, you got a 100.
Big fan of what he just did. Brilliant. Does it matter? Maybe. The old accidental double-double. Drum roll, please.
62. Lee, you require 91.
Now we'll see what that 130 approach could do for this shot.
Well, he's had a smile on his face all night long, but this is no laughing matter for Adam Sevada. But he is going to get a look,
51.
and does he split this time?
Adam, you
If you're going to
require
go for 91 that
38.
way, surely you've got to go double 17 tops. Nice marker. You can slide it over the top. Even better with that one.
No score.
He's missed the marker.
Lee, you require 40.
Well, he gave it every chance. But now it's Lee Cox with the chance to go 3-2 up.
Game shot on
And
the
tops,
fifth
no
leg,
problem.
Lee Cox.
A puff of the cheek, because he knows he's got away with one there. But he's one away from the finishing post.
Six-legged
And one
Adam
away
to
for a
throw
win that have
first.
put him on to
Game
4
up.
points. And more importantly, leave Adam Sevada to 0.
Don't think of it as fortunate. Think of it in these
100.
terms. If they don't hit, I will. You have to be ruthless in this sport.
100.
There's no room for sympathy. Especially in Group B. You've only got 8 games. People have been eliminated in Group B by the tiniest of margins.
45.
Legs won, legs difference, even averages in the past. There's no room to be sympathetic, no matter how long they've been on a plane to get here.
134.
Sentiment doesn't exist at elite level sport. Simple as that.
128.
And to Sevada's credit, he's scrapping away and scrapping away. He hasn't let his head drop at any point, despite what's happened
100.
at times, despite some of the things hit against him at times.
Oh no, now a single does not leave a finish. This is troublesome.
24.
And Lee Cox has got 6 darts from 167 to finish his night on 4 points. And for the way he's played,
95.
I think 4 points would be fair. But who said darts was all about what you deserve? It's about what you hit.
Because I'm sure Adam Sevada will feel like he doesn't deserve to be languished at the bottom of the table with not a point to his name. But by hitting that max,
72.
he has piled it on Lee Cox here. 1 dart at a double to win it 4-2.
Game
1
shot
dart
on the
at
match,
tops
Lee
is all
Cox.
Lee Cox needs. That was a really good night's work for Crafty Coxie. It's 4 points in the end. And he is very much in play when it comes to Friday's proceedings. He'll be pleased with the performances and he'll hope to pick up more points tomorrow. For Adam Sevada, he's got one more game to play. That's David Evans in game 10. But next up, it's Coates and McEwan.
now get round to our Royal Rumble Challenge.
Well, I'm glad they gave it a name that I can easily pronounce. The Royal Rumble coming soon to the Modus Super Series. So, game 9 of the night, Jim McEwan and Henry Coates going head-to-head. A game which has got the possibility of being the best one that we've seen all evening long. It's been a night that has been all about maxes. It's been all about big scoring, decent finishing, and players that have just found another level. If you've missed, you've been punished. It's been one of them types of nights. Before the break, Lee Cox signed off with a full 2 win over Adam Sevada. The American still have had a point to his name. He'll take on David Evans in the final match of the night. But prior to that, Henry Coates and Jim McEwan, they go head to head. If McEwan wins this, he will be top of the table overnight with a perfect record of 8 points from a possible 8. But following a sluggish start in which he lost 4-1 to Lee Cox, Henry Coates has gone up another level. He produced the highest average of the night, 105.47. Threatened something similar in the early stages of his game against David Evans in the next match, before then winning 4-2, averaging 96.93. In short, Nico, if both of these two get going, then we could be in for quite the treat.
62.
Yeah, and even the bad visits included treble 20, as stated there by Jim. We do need a few more of those to set a record, though. That is number 32. And we are going to need 7 more by the end of the night to break the single night Group B record, which was
55.
set in Series 6, Week 12, a group that did include David Evans.
180.
Henry, Mr. Coates, I absolutely love you because of what you're doing on that dartboard in the last hour and a half. My word, what a player.
There's a chocolate bar in Canada called O. Henry.
60. Henry, you require 98.
And I tell you what, he has played like an absolute treat tonight. He's not going to take out the 98.
78.
He's leaving himself very handy, and he's left McEwan in the tailwind.
Nobody's had a 300-point lead over Jim tonight. Until now. It's really easy in this spot to be happy with 6 points
20.
going into night 2. You can't be happy with 6. Double 5.
10.
Not through the ticker tape yet. Tell you who would be happy with 6. That's Henry Coates. Because that means he wins this game.
$100. Henry, you require
2 fives.
10.
Well, now he's beginning to chase.
8.
And he's up to the
Jimmy
madhouse. And McEwan may just have a bit of an outside hope here.
This is darts for you. The lead was more than 300. And McEwan might steal it. Bullseye.
85.
He didn't think he was going to get a
Henry, you
chance in the
require
leg.
2.
Now he feels disappointed that he might lose the leg.
Game
and he
shot
has.
on the first leg. Henry Coates.
How many times do you see that? A player beginning to mess around on the doubles, but as soon as their opponent gets closer to the finishing line, that sense of urgency creeps in and they pin it first dart. And that's exactly what Henry Coates has done there. 1 up in his race to 6 points for the night.
Yeah, that group that we were referencing from Series 6.
140.
The more you think about it, it was a very famous Group B. It included Ross Montgomery, Scott Taylor, the eventual champion. He would get the title 8 days later.
55.
David Evans, Ted Everts, and Lee Cox. It also included a game that lives rent-free in a lot of Super Series brains. It was between Montgomery and Evans.
100.
6 legs, and both of them averaged 108. If you were witness to that match, you'll never forget it.
123.
It was mental. The only disappointing thing about it is it doesn't have a 7th leg.
It was one of those games where, in commentary, me and you were like the penguins of Madagascar. We were smiling and waving at the magnificence of what we saw.
41.
That may be letting Henry off the hook. Because here he comes.
140.
Disappointed with a 140, and he's got every right to feel that way. Can't switch.
60.
That's one of the checkouts that David Evans does not have for the full Monty this week. He needs the 167 and the 160.
140. Jim,
And now McEwan needs it more than ever.
But that just wide to the left into the 5s, and so Coates is going to get a chance to go 2 up. At the beginning of the night, if you offered Jim McEwan 6 points, I think he'd be satisfied. Right now, he'd be rather disappointed.
Tops.
Game shot on the second leg.
He's not putting a foot wrong. And I am fully subscribed to the fact that Henry Coates is not a morning person.
The leg is Henry to throw first. Game up.
He is definitely a night owl.
$100.
Has he got a nickname?
Yes. Would you like to have one wild guess as to what Henry Coates' nickname could possibly be?
No, I just wanted you to tell me.
24.
Stop pussyfooting around.
Henners.
Awful. New one needed immediately.
Exactly, because there's only one Henners around here, pal.
180.
I bet you couldn't do that, though. And what's more, I bet you couldn't do it 3 times in 3 legs.
I was here first.
He's going to be here last.
Is that a threat?
140.
He's the one throwing things.
And thrown it rather accurately.
85.
Oh my word, he's throwing them so fiercely. I wouldn't want to be those flights right now. Throws them any harder, he's going to make the flights tap out.
It's like he's having a feud with that treble bed.
I think we're starting to see the real Henry Coates.
140.
And I am fully on board.
$96.
This kid is scary good. And he's also very good. He's taking one of the scariest looking dart shirts and he is burning it to the ground. Chucky is a great dart player and he's been thoroughly outplayed.
Well, he's taken a 4 Series champion here to the cleaners.
Game shot in the third
13
leg,
darter,
Henry Coates.
3-0, averaging 98 and change. And I have to say, I had a
Fourth leg is Jim
couple
to
of
throw
minutes
first.
conversation
Game
with
up.
Henry prior to play tonight, and he said that he's just feeling a little bit better than he has done the rest of the week. And my goodness, his actions are keeping up with his words.
No kidding. He is brutalizing someone who's averaging 100 for the night prior to this
43.
game beginning.
Good luck trying to analyse this in about 15 minutes' time in the Pluto TV studio.
Sign me up.
60.
This is what darts is all about. People from different places, people of different ages, all playing at a wonderful standard.
Do stick with us because after the end
81.
of tonight's play, me and Paul Nicholson will head to the Pluto TV studio to dissect, assess, analyse all the action. And then we'll be back tomorrow
131.
afternoon from 1 o'clock See how Group C comes to a culmination.
If Henry takes out 310 in 6, it won't just be the brilliance of that. It will be the brilliance of the 131 to leave 310. He started with a trebleless visit. He's going to have to stay straight.
100.
He's doing so much right. McEwan has had one darter double all game. And for the first time, he's not had a max in this match. Perfect timing, because there is his first.
Off the top one, he'd be disappointed that's only a ton, because that was sat perfect. Hail Mary time for Chucky. And he's not going to find a 137 recovery act. And so Henry Coates, who after a slow start has really bursted to life tonight, averages 105.5, an average just under 97, and here averaging 97, has a chance to finish this off.
Coates hits this, he's top of the table.
And it's tops to be the table topper.
Game shot.
Henry Coates has done it, and done it in style. A 110 finish to seal a 4-0 win. And that sees that young man top of the table overnight. An average of 98.5, and he has every reason to have a beaming smile on his face. What a performance, what a night, what a player Henry Coates is. Our final game of the evening is Adam Sevada taking on David Evans. It's live after the break here on Pluto TV. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. We're into the final game of the night, and it's a meeting between David Evans and Adam Sevada. What an evening we've enjoyed here on the south coast of England on this Thursday. Before the break, we saw Henry Coates get the better of Jim McEwan by 4-0, average of 98.5. Dismantling Chucky, who prior to that game had won each of his previous 3, but because of the margin of win for Henners, it sees him at the top of the pile going into Friday's play. So Evans and Sevada to round the night off. And for David, he's played some tidy stuff throughout the course of the evening, but just the one win to show. As for Adam Sevada, is the only player yet to win in this group.
60.
These are the averages that Adams had in defeat. 100.78. 79.05, the lowest of the night. 41. So I can't really make a case for that. Even though Coates did register his best performance against the American. And then 83.66. If he plays a little bit more like he did in his
58.
first match, he could get the victory against David Evans here. But he's been, from our vantage point, in a much better mental space tonight.
140.
He's not been showing those signs of frustration as much. He looks rested. He looks ready for the next challenge. And if he gets the win against the American, 56. He is firmly in contention for the top 3 come night 2.
David Evans will look at this as an opportunity as to say, let's keep myself as much in play as I possibly can. And at this point, this shows how good this group is. Adam Sevada's becoming the player you have to beat because he's the player that's cut adrift.
That's true.
89. David, you've got 140.
We're now on 35 180s for the night. That's 9 more than this afternoon. And they had 5 more
57.
games. For a record, for 39, they need 4 more. They won't be thinking about that. They won't even know
100.
it.
David, you require
Evans
83.
just wants the points. And you get points by hitting doubles.
Game
doubles he's hitting.
Leg, David Evans.
The exact start that he wanted because he's broken Sevada immediately.
Second leg is David to throw first.
Sevada again heading all the way across the Yoki now. In a lot of events in the CDC, they do have a 2-table setup, so they actually get a bit of time when they're away from the opponent, and maybe Sevada just wanting a bit of personal space to try and regroup. Regardless of what he's trying to do, David Evans has found another max and really piling on the misery for the man from Parker. And he's going to have to be 92. A little bit like Peter Parker here, isn't he? He's going to have to try and find a superhero moment, a superhero performance from here on in.
The way things have gone for Adam tonight, if he wanted to run into the ocean,
140.
he wouldn't even get wet. Evans looks menacing in the background. Oh, and he's joining the party as well. We are in proximity of the record now, believe it or not. 37. 1 more to equalise the record.
91.
Curiously, Series 6, Week 12. Do you know whose debut week that was? Jimmy Van Schie.
The Dutch Sequoia.
99.
He was only marginally the tallest player that week, alongside the German Ollie Holtkamp. He was a big lad. Double 18. 12 darts, 2-0.
David Evans.
And this has been the story of Adam Sevada's evening. He has been pulled from pillar to post.
How many times has someone been on this average after 2 legs tonight? I think it's 3.
26.
Coates and McEwan, now Evans. Or it might have even been Lee Cox.
140.
I'm disappointed he's at a 140 there. He was 1 dart away from equalising the 180 record for a nightly campaign in Group B.
55.
Well, this has been barbaric scoring.
What it has been throughout the course of the night
60.
is a great deal better from Stretch. And boy, is it good to watch. He's been infuriating to witness over the last 3 days. Constantly talking to the board, talking to himself, missing darts left and underneath. This is the Stretch we know. Playing really good stuff.
55.
Well, it's less talking the talk, more walking the walk tonight for David Evans.
$95.
This could be the one.
It's got to be thrown hard.
180.
There you have a record equalising 38th 180 in this group here tonight. One more
105.
and the record will be broken, but we might not have enough legs in this contest to break it. 99. That's
62.
one of the worst darts he's
Adam,
thrown
you
tonight,
require 80.
and not at a great time.
And there's not a big sample size of poor darts to really compare with. Tops, this has to go.
60.
And the failure in
David,
doing
you
so means that
require
Evans is
4.
back for the double break. 2 2s for free zip. I think Sevada knows what's coming next.
No score.
Well, it wasn't that. And for
Adam, you require
once,
20.
Sevada's been given a second chance. He has to take full advantage of this. Has to find this double 5. It's awkward.
10.
It's very awkward.
David, you require 4.
Double 1 again.
No score.
Same result. And for the first time tonight,
Adam, you require
he is
10.
frustrated. Well, that one is a bit more upright than usual. He likes to stack them over the top,
No
which
score.
makes that shot very difficult,
David,
and he
you
can't find
require
it.
4.
Third down and 4.
Well, you could see that he was
Game shot in the third
overcompensating.
leg, David Evans.
And now, in the back of his mind, he'll be fearing the worst because David Evans has found the double 2. He's found the double break.
Fourth leg is
He's
David,
3-0 up.
so 3 first.
He's a leg
Game
away
up.
from a commanding win, which would leave Sevada all at sea in this group. Zero points
100.
for the night. And it's not as if he's played poorly, but I think it's also fair to say it's almost felt in this game that what's happened before has kind of hit him a little bit, and that's why we've seen a little bit of a tail off here.
And if he doesn't get any points, the American,
92.
it is categorical. Win 4 out of 4 on Friday night, or you're going home. 2 points for Evans.
100.
He'll be on 4 with Lee Cox. McEwan and Coates will have 6. It'll be a dogfight.
131.
Time is running out to get one more maximum. Now's the time, Dave. Now's the time. Record broken. 39. Very well done to every single person here tonight who's broken what everybody thought was an unbreakable record.
Well, it's been a night of the sharpest shooting here at the
60.
Super
David
Series. Are we going to round it
121.
off with a ton topper? Triple 20. Unable to get, but he's got plenty of time on side.
65.
And in a group like this, where you have 5 players that are throwing haymaker after haymaker, throwing the kitchen sink at one another, there's always going to be one player on the receiving end. Unfortunately for Adam Sevada tonight, it's been him who's found himself more wanting than anybody else.
58. David, you require 50.
But for David Evans, this is for 4 points overnight. Double-double.
50. Adam, you require 160.
He leaves himself on another lower number double. Could Sevada give us another leg? The answer's no, and curiously, 6 is a great number because that's how many 180s Evans has had tonight, and he had 6 in 3 days this week before tonight.
But from the brilliance, we head to 1-1-1, perhaps to end the night's affairs.
Game shot.
Of course, the night that was littered with maximums ended on the madhouse. But importantly for David Evans, it's ended with a 4-0 win in his direction. For Adam Sevada, he will scratch his head as to what has happened tonight. He hasn't played poorly, maybe with the exception of the last, but he's got an uphill task tomorrow evening. David Evans is on 4 points overnight. The top 2 is Coates and McEwan on 6. There's going to be Pluto TV studio reaction to come from myself and Paul Nicholson after this short break. So this is how our night has looked, and what an enjoyable night we've seen here in Group B. Before the break, David Evans rounded proceedings off with a 4-0 victory over Adam Sevada. Prior to that, Henry Coates with another solid display to get the better of Jim McEwan, 4-0. Them two both tied at the top with 6 points respectively. They're in charge going into Friday's action in this particular group. We can confirm that now by having a look at the table, and it is them two that were a step above the rest. Lee Cox and David Evans both with 4, both very much in the mix. Realistically, Adam Sevada's going to have to win all 4 and probably hope that 1 or 2 players have a very poor night on Friday to make it through to Saturday evening's finale. Welcome along, everybody, to the Pluto TV studio for our post-match analysis following 10 fantastic games in Group B. We're going to do it in the company of the asset Paul Nicholson. And do you know what? We've sat here for nearly 4 years now. And that is one of the best nights of darts I think we've seen here under this roof.
We've seen more dramatic nights, particularly on Fridays. But for a Thursday Group B night, standard-wise, I think that's the best I've seen. It's not just about the maximums. We had 39, which is a record, but it's the overall standard. People pounding in the ton-plus averages from McEwan to Coates to Sevada, putting in 100 average in a loss in his first game of the week. And you thought, surely this can't get any better. But we had a great game in Game 7 between Evans and Coates as well. And no matter where you looked, it was great stuff.
Once he got rid of the cobwebs, Henry Coates was quite the target tonight.
Yeah, I think we've established now that he's not a morning person. He's very much a night owl. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we've said that about Paul Hogan in the past. We've said it about Chaz Barstow. But he was really locked in here tonight, playing some wonderful stuff. And there were times when he's up against Cox and Sevada and Evans, and they were saying, do you know what, you're better than me right now. And the reaction of Jim McEwan at the end, when he's been nailed 4-0 by that young man from Derbyshire, it's as if to say, right, well done, young man. Quite frankly, I can't live with that.
We always say about players who play 2 of the first 3, it's all about getting out quickly. That was exactly what McEwan did, 2 big averages to kick things off.
You're the one at the start of the show who said there are question marks, and you were absolutely right. But when he came into that first game, he looked sharp from the off. And I thought, what question marks? He looks tremendous. These lighter darts that he's cultivating at the start of 2026, they look tremendous. He puts any of that stuff together. That's his first game right there. If he does that again come Friday night, he's going to be safely through well before 11:30.
Oh, and he is. He actually played better in his next game as well. In terms of elsewhere, there's always a player that you look at and can feel a little bit hard done by. It's David Evans, that play. I know he's picked up 4 points from the evening, but he was hit with some things, wasn't he?
He is being, because people know how dangerous he is. And maybe people know better than we do because of how he's reacting in the practice room and how he's talking, because he's quite a loquacious individual. Maybe they need to be on their game to take him out tonight. Whereas the last couple of days, you might have got away with one against him when he's had one of his bad performances. He hasn't played badly tonight. He really hasn't. Hard done by? Questionable. However, people have turned up against him, and you've got to take that as a compliment.
In terms of Lee Cox, it felt like he got everything that he could get out of it. He squeezed the lemon for all it's worth.
Especially in his 4th game. He saw that game as, if I don't get these 2 points, I'm going to be in a dogfight to be in the top 3. He still is. But his ability to get over the line in that 4th game especially shows me where he's at. He's in a good spot. And even in this wonderful standard of group, he can live with these people.
He can certainly live with them. Adam Sevada, though, maybe at times couldn't.
Not right now. I think some of his numbers are inflated by the fact that he's playing such good players tonight. But I applaud the fact that he played better here than he's played in Las Vegas last week and at the Worlds, even though he won a game there. He's not going to get through this group the way people are playing. I'm with you. If 2 people severely drop off and he wins all 4 games, he might just sneak through on 8 points, but it's very unlikely at this stage.
Right, let's survey the land then. This is how the table looks going in tonight too. Henry Coates and Jim McEwan on 6. Is it a case of just having a steady night tomorrow and they'll both be in?
If they have a night like Cox and Evans, they're going to be on 10 points, and that's going to be fine. But if Sevada has another night like tonight, this is going to be enthralling. 4 people fighting it out for 3 spots. I do envisage, based on what we've seen this evening, that Coates and McEwan will get there, but they're not in the distance by any stretch of the imagination. If McEwan or Coates fall off the wagon a little bit and the other 2 below them have great nights, one of them is going to be heart-shattered.
But the other side of the coin is Adam Sevada could play the role of spoiler, and he, as we know, could be one heck of one.
What's he got to lose? He's come here for success all the way from the other side of North America. Doesn't look like it's going to happen to him. What does he take into night 2? You guys spoiled my night 1. I'm going to spoil your night 2, so get fully on board with that.
We've had some fun tonight, haven't we?
This has been an exceptional night. I can't wait for Friday night already. It's going to be brilliant. I wonder if they can beat 39 180s.
We'll have a look. But what we are going to have a look at now is the Group C table, because that's what we're going to see when we get back underway at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Just a few hours worth of kit for some. It's all right for those that are doing the night shift, isn't it, Nico? Danny Hayes and Steve Green lead the way, both with 8 points. Coda Whitehead, Tiffy for Brewer, both on 6. Billy Leonard with just 2 points following night 1. And Stein de Klerk, well, he was pointless on Thursday. So that is how Group C looks. That's what we're going to have a look at tomorrow afternoon. Plenty in the meantime on Pluto TV to keep you entertained. And this is what's coming up. You can hear from Adam Sevada about happier times than perhaps tonight in the Tungsten Talk series. That's coming up in a few moments' time, and then we're going to see 2 champions in action once again tomorrow. Conan Whitehead will be with us from 1 o'clock tomorrow. He's got work to do, but he's very much in the mix as far as Group C is concerned. Jim McEwan, well, he's in the box seat in Group B, and that gets back underway from 10 o'clock. So Saturday, 7:30 p.m, we'll see the return of George Killington. He won Group A, and he's looking to convert that into a Saturday night success. We haven't seen that for a long while here. And then week 2 of the new series gets underway on Monday morning from 9:30. It sees Mark Dubbridge in action. He's looking to show some more flashes of brilliance over the course of the next few days. We've had some fun. I've really enjoyed today in your company, Nico. I shall see you again. We've got Laura Turner with us again tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to that. Stay safe. See you soon.
Absolutely.
Right, that's it from us. We'll be back tomorrow from 1 o'clock to see how Group C comes to a close. But as far as tonight is concerned, well, just like the Super Series, it's all about Henry. Good night.
The new Modus Super Series champion. Oh my word!
It's another incredible moment tonight.
Jeff Smith.
It's match start.
5-star performer, and the bullseye is hit.
It's Johnny Magny.
He will be disappointed with that. He wanted to have
Graham
one dart.
requires 20.
Graham Usher wins the first game of Champions Night, and it was an absolute ripper. He hit one of them on tops. He missed one on double 12. Which one is it? It's the hit.
Outside opportunity for Andy Hamilton. Van der Velde should be getting a match start again here. He's already had one. Mr. Dart at tops for the match to win 4-1. And he Dart at double 16 gets the job done there for Jurgen van der Velde. He gets over the line with a 4-2.
Did he go for tops, or did he just overshoot the single? Jimmy doesn't care. Jimmy just looks to eat this up to make the semi-finals for the second time. Adam Kablas has been eliminated. Keep us guessing. This time he's trying to leave double 18. He knows best, and he takes the lead. He's 2 darts away
Jeff requires 86.
from a Super Series final. He's 1 dart away. He doesn't need any more darts. Jeff Smith makes the Series 11 final. Is Usher losing his cool a little bit here?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, I'd say the head's gone, and you don't have long to recover. It is very, very short format darts. Vansky's halfway to victory.
He only needs one more. Jimmy Van Ski is yet again into a Modus Super Series final.
Flashback vibes. Can Jimmy Van Ski do the same? Just needs the one treble here on the 19s. Finds it. For the ball.
101.
Oh, unlucky. A lot of pressure on it. He's going to split it. 2 darts for double fourth in the match.
Game. Go.